So we're going to review distributing first. Last time we did adding and subtracting polynomials. Today we're going to do multiplying. All right. So if you see something like this, you take the 3 and distribute it through, which just means multiply it to both parts of that. 3x plus 6. Good. We've done that before. Now we're going to learn how to model it with the tiles. Here's what you do. You take your hand and you cover up whatever number is out front. Do you see how I did that? Covered up the 3. How would we model x plus 2? What shape is the x? All right. Rectangle and then 2 little squares. That's how you do the x plus 2 part. We just want 3 of them. Do you see? Like you want that, but 3 times. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I always say cover up the number that's out front first, just draw it, and then just do it that number of times. The point of that is to visualize. You see how there's 3 rectangles? Yeah. That's the 3x. And do you see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the little ones? Like that's what happened there, okay? I'm going to do these the other way. I'm going to do the problem here and then do the tiles here. Now, here's the thing you're going to have to get on board with me, because this is the most commonly missed thing every single year. Can you guys listen? X times x is x squared. Say that with me. X times x, x squared. You got to get on board with that. It's the most commonly missed thing, all right? We're going to take this negative 2x and distribute it through here. Well, hold on a second. You're correct, but can I get everybody else there? How do you get negative 8? Because that's correct. Multiplying. And then x times x is x squared. Now multiply it to the second part. Negative 2x times negative 3. That's going to be positive 6x. Now I'm going to show you how to do it with the tiles, just in case this does show up on the SOL. Just as a heads up, this one's not super fun to draw because it's kind of a lot. You're going to draw yourself this sort of like grid, like a table. We're going to put negative 2x along the left side. So that's 2 of your negative rectangles. Or I guess if you like drawing the pictures, I guess this will suit you if you're like a pictures person. So that's the negative 2x. And then you put the 4x minus 3 along the other side. So I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make this fit. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to run out of space. See, that's why I don't particularly love drawing these. All right. And then negative 3. So 1, 2, 3 of the little negative ones. So the negative 2x went along this side. The 4x minus 3 went along that side. I guess if you draw a little smaller than me, yours might look better. And then you just fill it in. So when you multiply these together, you get an x squared, but it's going to be negative because this one's negative. And that's going to happen with all of these. I wish it hadn't have been 4. If it was something smaller, this wouldn't have been so tedious. Now, here's the point of this. Thank you for coming with me on this and being cool and not complaining about it. How many of those big squares did we get? How many do you count? 8. 8. And they're shaded in, so they're negative. Do you see over here in our answer how it's negative 8x squared? That's what that's visualizing for us. That's like what that is, okay? Now, when you do these columns, do you see how this is negative and this is negative? They're both shaded in. It'll be a positive. So you're going to fill these in with your rectangles. And how many of them do we end up with? Like how many rectangles? 6. And that's the positive 6x for us. That's what we drew. Can you shut your computer? No, we're doing this right now. You can go ahead and put that up. That's that, like you do what we're doing right now, and then you can make up stuff at that. All right, so we're gonna wait, go ahead. You're filling in the amount of space that you have. So this is an x times an x, which gives you x squared. So you're like filling in the amount of space that you've got. I know it's not super intuitive. Anyway, if you see a picture like that on the SOL, that's what that means. We're going to do the rest of them without drawing all of this, okay? So for this one, we're going to distribute the negative 3a through those parentheses. So let's multiply these first two. Negative 3 times 4. Negative 12. Now hold on. Do you see how this is just a? That's a with a 1. And then do you see how this is 2? So 1 plus 2 is 3. All right, is what we did there. Oh, why is the next one going to be plus? Because that's correct. Negative times a negative will give us positive. 3 times 3, or sorry, 3 times 5 is 15. And then a times a is a squared. Or you could think of it like 1 plus 1 is 2, is what happened there. All right, and then to the last one, negative 3a times 9 will be negative, good, 27a. We just distributed through there. We're going to try it again. Oh, wait, go ahead. So this a has a 1 with it. And then this is 2. So we did 1 plus 2 is where the 3 came from. I'm about to do it again. You'll see it again. So this says find the area of a rectangle. I know you guys haven't taken geometry yet, but you do some geometry in middle school math. Do you know how to find the area of a rectangle? Just open your eyes. From being alive for 14 years. Length times width. There you go. So it's going to be 3x squared. That's this dimension. Times the 2x squared minus 5x plus 2. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did. Did you need something to write? Let's write this down. Okay. Well, I'm teaching it. No one does yet. That's me teaching it. So write it down. All right. Now we're going to distribute through here. No one understands stuff until I've explained it. That's what we're doing right now. I'm explaining it. So when you multiply the first ones, 3 times 2, 6. Good. Why is it 4? Good job. Yeah, 2 plus 2 is 4 is what we did there. All right, then do the second one. 3 times negative 5, negative 15. Good. This one has a 1 with it, so 2 plus 1 is 3. And then the last one, 3 times 2, 6, x squared. All right, this one looks a little scary, but it is the same thing, just longer. All right, so we're going to distribute this 4r, oops, my rainbow didn't quite land in the right spot, through this first parenthesis. We're sort of ignoring all of the second half of this. We're just going to distribute through there. So do just the first one, 4r times 2r squared. What's that going to give us? 8r cubed. Good. This one has a 1 with it, so 1 plus 2 is 3. Is all the math there is 1 plus 2 equals 3. That's all that's going on. All right, then do the second one. 4r times negative 3r. R, good. R times r is r squared. That's the most commonly missed thing. It's just 1 plus 1 is 2, but the ones aren't written, so everybody misses it. So just be careful, all right? Plus, and then what's your third one? 4r times 5. 20r. Good job. Now we're going to just keep going and do the second half of it. You're going to take this 6r and distribute it through that one. Just multiplying numbers together. That's all that it is. All right. So what's the first one going to give us? 6 times 4. 24r to the third. Good. You have an r and then another 2 r's. There's 3 of them. Plus, good, that'll be 12 r squared. R times r is r squared. Plus, oh, does anybody know 6 times 8? What is it? 48. Good. R. Now, what do we want to do with that? There's one more step. Yeah, combine the like stuff. All right, so 8r cubed is going to go with 24r cubed. So what is that? 32r cubed. Oh, this is actually kind of interesting. Do you see what's going to happen with the squareds? Yeah, that's negative 12 and that's positive 12. So those just cancel out. And then you've got 20r plus 48r, 68r. Cool. No, this is not that hard. All right. We'll do like 2 more and I'll give you a break. I'm gonna make it like a little bit further. What? I'll walk in the park. All right, for this one, this is a binomial times a binomial. We talked about all that vocabulary last time. Bi means 2, okay? This one says algebra tiles. Can we just do one of them with the algebra tiles? So I'll show it to you okay, because it is, I want to show it to you in case it shows up on the SOL, but I'll be honest with you, I don't have much patience for drawing these. I'd rather just do the problem. I'll show you one of them, okay? We're going to put x plus 2 along the left side. So x plus 2 goes along the left side. And then we're going to put x plus 3 along the top. And then you kind of just fill in the amount of space that you have. So what's going to go in this block here? It's going to be like squared. Yeah, an x squared. Good. You kind of just fill in the amount of space that you've got. And then so these will all be our rectangles. Well, hold on. I didn't fill in the whole thing yet. And then these will be your rectangles. And then in that last little space, you're just going to have like all your little squares. Maybe I'll do one more with the tiles so you can see it. You fill it in with the amount of space that you've got. Do you see how this square matches up with this square? So it's kind of like 1 times 1 is 1 is what's happening there. Like, do you see how these are matching up? Yeah, like here, I'll do one more with the tiles so you guys can see it. So anyway, here's your answer. This big square is what? X squared, good. And then how many x's do you have? 5x. And then how many little squares is 6? So that's the answer. Here, I'll do one more with the tiles so that you can see it because you're all going, I don't get it. I'll show you. We'll do one more. What? Well, let me hit pause here real quick. All right, so we're going to put x minus 1 along the left side. So the minus 1 gets colored in. And then, unfortunately, this one's 4. So we're going to have x plus 4 along the top. Okay, this one didn't end up being so large. This one's going to like actually fit in the amount of space we have here. So what's going to go in this first like block of space? That'll be an x squared. That's the big square. And then you're going to fill this space with your rectangles. And then the same thing's going to happen here. You're going to have a rectangle, but because you're multiplying by a negative, it's going to be a negative. This entire row is going to all be like shaded in. And then with the last little bit, you're going to put your squares. Did that help? Do you see it better now that you can see 2 of them? Okay, well then we'll do it until you understand it. I mean, if you don't get it, we're going to do problems until you do. I mean, I can make them up all day long. Yeah, it is my fault. You're right. Okay, now right here, you need to cancel out the pairs that are 0 pairs. So do you see something? Now this one, that didn't happen because they were all positive, but do you see something that's a positive and a negative?
The tiny square.
No, those are all negative. Well, we're just looking at the stuff inside. We're just looking at the stuff inside. Good, thank you. So look, you need to be quiet so you can understand it. This one and this one cancel out. We have a positive and a negative, so they cancel out. And then we're going to write what's left. So we've got an x squared. And then how many x's are left? Yes, 3x. And then minus 4. Good job. So now I'm going to show you how to do it without the tiles. This would be very annoying to do with the tiles. 3 x's and then minus 5 would be so long, and 4x plus 2. So here's what you're going to do. If you have a binomial times a binomial, you're going to draw yourself a little 2x2 square. Does anyone take biology and do the Punnett squares? Have you gotten to that yet with genetics and stuff? Look, it looks kind of like that. All right. We're going to put the 3x minus 5 along the left and the 4x plus 2 at the top. If you want to put it the other way, that's fine. It won't make a difference. But you put one along the left and one along the top. And now we're just going to multiply them together. The squares just keep you organized. Can you guys please focus and write this down for me? And none of that garbage better be left. So in this first box, you're just going to line them up. 4 times 3 is 12. X times x is x squared. You got to get on board with x times x is x squared. It's 1 plus 1 equals 2 is what's going on there. What do you think is going to go in this one? If you multiply these two. And I know you're doing 3x. Good. 6x. Good job. How about in this one? Just line them up. 4x times negative 5. Negative 20x. Beautiful. And then here it's negative 5 times 2. Just negative 10. Now, the diagonal ones will combine. So your answer is 12x squared. And if you combine these together, 6x minus 20, negative 14x minus 10. And that's your answer. It's way easier than using the tiles. Let's try it again. Draw yourself a little 2x2 box. Put one of them along the left and one of them at the top. It really doesn't make a difference which one goes where. You can do whatever pleases you. And the boxes, again, are just to keep you organized. It's just an organization tactic, all right? What's going to go in the first little square? X squared, good, perfect. This one will be 7x. This one will be negative 7x, very good. And then 7 times negative 7, negative 49. Now, if you organize everything correctly, your diagonal ones are going to combine. And in this case, what's going to happen to them? Yeah, they cancel out. And so your answer is good. Just x squared minus 40. Good. You guys are all listening to me and you're getting it. Nice job. Now, do you see how this one has a squared on it? I call these a twin. It means you have the same thing twice. So when you see a 2x minus 3 squared, it just means they are twins. It's the exact same thing twice. So do you see how I just wrote the same thing on both sides? And then you just do the problem again. So 2x times 2x. Well, 2 times 2, 4. 4x to the second. Good. In this square, you multiply these two.
9. Negative 9.
Well, we're doing negative 3 times 2x. We're lining up these two. Negative 6x. Good. There we go. I think you guys were looking at the last one, so I can jump down there if you want. This would be negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. I think that might have been where you guys were looking. And then what's going to go in this one? Good. Now, these don't cancel. One has to be positive and one has to be negative to make them cancel. They don't cancel. When you get stuck with negatives, think of money, okay? You're going to have 4x squared, and then pretend you owe someone $6, and then you owe them another $6. It didn't cancel out. Now you owe them, well, good. So negative 12x, and then plus 9. Good job. Now, these last two are the same kind of thing, except instead of a 2x2, do you see how this is a binomial times, do you remember what we call this if there's 3? Trinomial. It's the exact same thing, but instead you're going to do 2x3. So just instead of 2x2, it's 2x3. It does matter what you put where, because you obviously have to put the 2 one where you have 2 boxes, and then you're going to put the trinomial where you have 3 boxes. So just put one along the left and one along the top. And again, it's just to keep you organized. That's all it is. All right. So we're going to just multiply them all together. In the first square, you're doing 2 times 5 So good. 10x cubed. You have an x and then 2 more. 1 plus 2 equals 3 is what we did there. So looking at the next one, you're multiplying these two. Good. Negative 15x squared. Negative 3 times 5 gives you the negative 15. X times x is x squared. And then the last one in that row, 5x times 8, 40x. Good job. All right, and now you're going to multiply 2 to everything. So if you line up these two, you would get 4x squared. Good job. Negative 6x and 16. Now, again, if you've done everything correctly, the diagonal ones are going to combine. So see how those are my x squareds? And then I'll use like a triangle for these ones just to make it look different. And then these are our x's. So the diagonal ones are going to combine together. So you get 10x cubed. And then if you combine these two, negative 15 plus 4, negative 11, good, x squared. What is this? 40x minus 6x would be, hold on, it's 40 minus 6. This is positive. So 40 minus 6 is 34. Good, and then plus 16. Sorry, go ahead. No, those were just x's. So this was your x cubed. These two combined for your x squared. These two combined for your x, and then the 16 is just x. Can you guys listen? No, none of these are like terms. This is to the third, this is to the second, this is to the first. Like they're all different. So you're not going to combine them. All right, we're going to try one more. Draw yourself a 2 by 3. If you guys stay calm, we'll be able to play a game after this. So you're going to put do you see how it's length times width? We've got this like football field here. I'm just going to pull the numbers from the picture. So we've got 2x minus 3. And then the other one goes along the top. So 3x squared. It's minus 1x if you want to put a 1 with that. If not, that's fine too. And then plus 4. So what's going to go in the first little square? Good, perfect. 3 times 2 is 6. X cubed. All right, multiplying these. Negative 2x squared, good job. And then 4 times 2x, 8x. Perfect. Nice. Now you're going to multiply negative 3 to everything. So when you line up these two, it'll be negative 3 times 3. So good. Negative 9x squared. Those two line up there. Ooh, this one's a little tricky. Negative 3 times negative x. Good. It's positive 3x because the negatives cancel. Nice job. And then negative 3 times 4 gives you negative 12. All right, again, if you've done everything correctly, your diagonal ones are going to combine together. And so your final answer is 6x cubed. Okay, that's correct. How did he get negative 11? Negative 2 and negative 9. Negative 11x squared. And then combine these two. It'll be plus what? Yeah, weirdly, that's also 11. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11x minus 12.